Record indicate the presence of acting city manager Rob Esposito, assistant corporation counsel Gregory Campbell, now salute to the flag.
Councilman Bendo, would you lead us?
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, good evening, everyone. Trying to get this going as quick as we can, and we'll start off with the city manager update.
Thank you. As mentioned in previous meetings, the city is in the midst of a large-scale marketing campaign for the summer as we look to boost beach revenue while promoting local business. Though it's extremely early in the season, beach pass sales appear to be trending in the right direction. In the past several days, we've had significant media coverage shining the spotlight on our summer kickoff, our splash parks, and arts and boardwalk. Many of these articles and videos can be seen on the city's Facebook page, which is also accessible for feed on the city's brand new website. A new emergency dock will allow firefighters and first responders to respond more quickly to emergencies on this channel has been completed. The new dock at the FETD Anna Firehouse will help reduce response times. We would like to thank Town of Hempstead, which worked with us to install the 6 by 88-foot pier, providing experienced labor and helping to reduce costs. The 2018 annual drinking water quality report has been approved by the Nassau County Department of Health and is now available for public review. You may find the report and everyday water conservation tips at our website, www.longbeachny.gov/water. Yearly parking permits for Long Island Railroad Parking Garage are due to expire on June 30th. New 2019-20 parking permits are on sale now. Applications for parking permits are available in the city clerk's office and third floor City Hall, or can be downloaded at www.longbeachny.gov/citycard. Tomorrow is World Environment Day, celebrated every year on June 5th. This year's theme, Beat Air Pollution, invites us to consider how we can change our everyday lives to reduce air pollution improvement. One of the City of Long Beach's proud partners in the Clean Air New York community, a program of the 511 New York rideshare program supports New York individuals and businesses in making simple changes to our everyday travel choices to improve air quality and help improve our health and quality of life. To see what the city is doing to protect our environment and for clean living tips we can use each day, please visit the city's new webpage, www.longbeachny.gov/environment. The Farmers Market and Arts Plaza will kick off the retailing season this Saturday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Kennedy Plaza. Shop local produce and artisanal products while listening to great music. You can also visit the Farmers Market each Wednesday and tomorrow from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. South Nassau Hospital will host a health fair on Sunday, June 9th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on the boardwalk at Riverside Boulevard. Doctors will be giving free health screenings of blood pressure, body mass index, and more. On Friday, June 14th from 1 p.m. to 3:45 p.m., South Nassau will offer free skin cancer screenings on the boardwalk at Riverside Boulevard. From June 13th to June 15th, Artists in Partnership Inc. and the Long Beach Public Library present the 11th annual Barrier Beach Blues and Arts Festival. All events are free and open to the public. Visit amparts.org for more information. The Long Beach Department of Parks and Recreation will hold the 5th annual Kids Triathlon on Saturday, June 15th. The event for children ages 4 to 13 consists of a full swim, bike ride, and finishes with a run. Visit Long Beach at www.longbeachny.gov/run for more information. And lastly, on June 15th and 16th, the Long Beach Chamber of Commerce will hold a home and garden show at Kennedy Plaza from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And lastly, we want to thank all participants in the City Manager 5K and 10K race during Memorial Day weekend and in the Memorial Day parade itself. First time I got to see the inner workings of both events, and I just want to compliment and thank the recreation staff in particular for the job. Very well done.
Thank you, Mr. Esposito.
Okay, the first item this evening is a resolution authorizing the acting city manager to purchase recreation, youth, and family services and lifeguard t-shirts, sweatshirts, sweatpants, jackets, and hats from lowest responsible bidders.
Every year, we purchase various articles of clothing on an as-needed basis for use by our staff and participants in the numerous programs administered by the city throughout the year. The reason why we purchase on an as-needed basis is because the number of staff members and participants fluctuates every year. This item allows the city to complete purchases once we obtain those final numbers.
Okay, any questions from the council?
Yeah, just a couple. Typically, we spend between the last few years between 23 and 26,000 on lifeguard uniforms, but the FY20 budget has 18. Are we going to be buying less stuff?
We are Well, first of all, we got some very competitive prices this year, but that is also our aim, yes.
Okay, so we're spending less, great. Okay, and the three budgets, the account numbers in the resolution total about $130,000. Is that all go to basically buying swag, or is there other stuff in there as well?
It's mostly that,
Okay,
brown.
and that goes to all the summer employees, or it goes to regular employees as well?
It goes to summer and regular employees. I have a list of about 25 events and other programs. If you want me to run through it, I can.
No, not necessarily.
For participants as well.
Participants and staff, correct?
Right, okay. And maybe you might have just sort of answered my last question, is we got, this calls for, let's see, 9 different kinds of short sleeve shirts, 10 different kinds of jackets, and 14 different kinds of t-shirts. Is that because there's stuff specific to each event and stuff like that? Or?
Yes, it varies by event.
Okay,
Correct.
all right. I mean, would knocking it down and standardizing, like getting 5 different t-shirts, save anything, or are we still gonna spend the same?
I'm not really sure. It's something that I can certainly look at as the year progresses, but certainly, that's definitely worth exploring.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the council?
No, I was just gonna say that, some of the t-shirts that are being purchased here will be, used for the summer camp, and that will be for our youth, so that's why you're gonna have different sizes as well. And then it's the annual resolution, this year we have some special upcoming summer camps, and that would be another reason why we have a flexibility with respect to the size.
Okay. Anyone from the public care to speak on the t-shirt purchases for the recreation center? Yes, sir.
More or less the long picture. I just heard Mr. Bendo, and he did have some comments on the prices and stuff, and the amount we're spending. Why doesn't the public get the numbers?
Which numbers?
The numbers of what we're spending on the different bids. In the school district, we used to give out what the different bids were and the amount that they bid.
We actually didn't get the pricing on each individual piece. I just went into the budget that's posted online and looked at the 3 account numbers that are in the resolution to see what they total up.
Why wouldn't you, John? Why wouldn't you get those numbers? I mean, I guess that's part of the problem. We have a real problem. See, hey, there's something wrong here. It was a famous sour cream thing. We were overpaying for sour cream. But why aren't you getting those numbers?
Well, look, Mr. Lister, I think this is a mechanism that's designed to expedite the process in the sense that if we don't do it this way on an as-needed basis, just like they do for automotive, I'm just answering the question for automotive, for like parts and as well as food items, we do it the exact same way. That results in an organizational inefficiency because we have to keep coming back every single time for basically what amounts to minute items. It's not an efficient way if that's regular business.
To put the
These
price
lines are-
down?
These lines are traditionally not overdrawn, and the council is more than welcome to have the numbers once we obtain them. Of course, we don't have the numbers right now.
But you have the individual items.
Sure.
We have per t-shirt bid.
Right, pages and pages and pages of actual unit prices. We just don't have the number of articles.
Well, you have it, so you could actually put it online. It's not tough to scan. It really isn't.
The council wants that will absolutely be done. Sure.
Okay, well, I'm asking on behalf of the public. We would like a little bit more transparency when it comes to numbers. Thank you.
Yes? Name and address to the clerk, please.
Eddie Brennan. Will every lifeguard and recreation worker receive new apparel, even if they are returning workers? That's the question.
Councilwoman Diamond doesn't believe so.
Do you know for certain, Mr. XDC?
I believe it depends on the apparel.
I can answer with respect to lifeguards. Their CBA, for example, provides for certain types of clothing on 1 year and certain types of clothing for other years. However, if you're a rookie, you get everything all at once. So not everybody.
So like I was about to say, some is recycled from year to year.
But I think that it's not all, but some.
There are certain things that are purchased in certain years, is my understanding, depending on what the contract says, as well as depending on what the need condition. But if you were a new lifeguard, then you're gonna get everything.
But for camp workers, from my understanding, from my friends who work at the camp, it appears each year they're issued new uniforms, but based on, usually it's a different color each year, is that correct?
In terms of the t-shirts?
Yes.
Yes, they get t-shirts every year.
So I just think as a potential way to save some money, the city should only provide apparel to new workers, and returning workers should use last year's apparel, even if that requires a minor, like one camp council wearing green and the other wearing blue. I think it's worth it to save even a small amount of money for this item. But I understand with respect to collective bargaining agreements that there is some inflexibility the city has in terms of purchasing for lifeguards. But for camp workers who are non-union and other recreation workers, I think we should just be careful and try to spend as wisely as possible, even if, again, they all are not wearing all the same shirt. It still says Long Beach Recreation, it still says council. So that's how I see it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just wanted to just point out one more thing, just to respond to your question. You may recall last year, this resolution came up last year, and one of the ways in which the city tried to reduce cost was to actually remove the time record in terms of the year from some of the materials, so that the materials could be recycled in that way to reduce some cost. I just wanted to just point that out since you raised the question.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Councilwoman Moore.
Anyone else from the public care to speak on t-shirts and hats for the recreation department? Okay, seeing no hands, next item.
Item 2 is a resolution authorizing payments for the title closing report and the required environmental assessment secret administration for the land purchase under Reynolds Channel in the town of Hempstead.
All right, I'll ask Mr. Kalvitsky to run through this one.
Very simply, this is taking money from the Sandy Relief Fund to pay for the environmental assessment pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act for the critical infrastructure project, as well as associated closing costs and title insurance.
Okay. Anyone have any questions from the council? Okay, it's an excellent project. We're really looking forward to moving forward. Anyone from the public?
I just have one question. After this is completed, then we can close?
Yeah, basically, this is going to be paying for title insurance, which we need, as well as our recording fees with the county clerk's office. We've actually already had a deed, but obviously we need to record it, just to take that extra step. And this will be paying.
Excellent. Okay. Anyone from the public? Yes, sir. Name and address for the record.
Very nice for Long Beach. Yeah, I know we have a bunch of lawyers up here. I can't quite understand the title insurance. Is there any chain of title in this property?
Yes, there is. I believe it comes from the King of England to the town of Hempstead, and there's some few of them in between. I'm not sure
But
exactly.
there's never been any private ownership, has there?
I believe there has, when the King of England gave it to a private individual before it became a town or village.
So I mean, the statute would run on all of that. I just don't understand. I mean, I understand title insurance, absolutely necessary on regular pieces of property, but now we're talking underwater property.
They did more than just provide title insurance. They kind of guided us through the closing process. We had to get a parcel taken off the tax map. This wasn't an actual parcel of land before. So the title company did more than just provide title insurance. And in any event, title insurance is just a few $100s on a $55,000 piece of property that we're going to be installing some pretty important stuff on. So it's probably wise just to make sure that we have the title.
Okay, but you had Nelson and Pope providing you, well, they just did the secret.
Secret, correct.
Okay, so the Abstracts Incorporated, they're not attorneys, they were guiding you?
No, actually, the people at Abstracts, they have a few attorneys on staff that are specialists in real estate matters.
But you didn't hire them as attorneys?
No, but they helped us with the tax map. Like I said, that specific parcel of property wasn't on the tax map. They assisted us with the county clerk's office and kind of parsing that piece of property out to identify it to the county. They didn't charge us for that or anything.
Oh, good.
It was a few $100 for title insurance, which, as you know, is statutorily regulated based on the purchase price.
Right.
And the rest of the expenses here were the county's reporting fees. Actually, I believe it was mostly county reporting fees.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Anyone else care to speak? Okay. Seeing no hands?
On to the voting. Item 1 is a resolution authorizing the acting city manager to purchase recreation, youth, and family services, and lifeguard t-shirts, sweatshirts, sweatpants, jackets, and hats for the lowest responsible bidders. Introduce move the adoption of this item.
I will.
Second.
I will.
Voting, Councilmember Bennett.
Yes.
Councilmember Moore.
Yes.
Vice President Dyer.
Yes.
President Romano.
Yes.
Item 2 is a resolution authorizing payments for the title closing report and the required environmental assessment secret administration for the land purchase of the rental shop in the town of Hempstead. Introduce move the adoption of this item.
I will.
Second. Voting, Councilmember Bennett.
Yes.
Councilmember Moore.
Yes.
Vice President Dyer.
This is an incredibly important project to our city. I want to thank the folks from Corporation Council as well as the town of Hempstead for working to get this done as quickly as possible. I have that, I vote yes.
President Romano.
Yes.
City manager's monthly personnel report is provided by the city clerk. I'll make a motion to close the meeting.
I will.
Second.
I will.
Voting, Councilmember Bennett.
Yes.
Councilmember Moore.
Yes.
Vice President Dyer. President Romano.
Yes. Okay, now we can talk about the welfare section of the evening. Everyone knows you get 3 minutes to talk the time. I'm going to ask Council Vice President Diamond to preside over the welfare this evening. There is an event at the high school that my daughter is participating in, and I wish to be there for her senior year. So I thank everyone for coming, and I'll ask Ms. Diamond to take over presiding the meeting. Thank you.
Councilwoman Diamond, there are questions with respect to the sorting of the actual papers. Can we just have verification that the papers are not being sorted on the plate?
As far as I know, where they sorted.
So they come,
Please explain.
they come in order of appearance. We do leave a topic line for residents to leave so that we can keep everybody on the same topic consecutively. But often topics get left out, so we just do it in order of appearance. So if it was left in the box first, it gets turned over to be called first.
Okay, great. Ms. Stratton?
All right, but that still doesn't answer my question.
No, I think they're in order of how they were put in the box.
Unless there's
Is
a
that
topic.
what you're saying?
Yeah, unless there's a topic, then the topics stay put together.
Okay, so
There's no.
I think to just
Tailoring topics.
avoid the questions and concerns, that you can just turn them over and then that's the end of it. When people see you on the side going like this,
That would
We'll make it
be a conversation for the president.
Gotta go back to I'm really short. Okay.
You understand. Regarding, Elizabeth Preston, Long Beach. Regarding, I'm going to call it the Enfield Mandel resolution regarding the change of the charter. Has that been discussed at all, or how would we put that on a resolution? That was my question. I was on the Army Corps of Engineers stakeholder meeting on Monday, as I am almost every month. And I mentioned the residents' idea of keeping the south pump out for shade. I don't know if you saw that on one residence one or other areas where the residents are thinking about keeping the pump outs on the south part of, maybe Summit, no. Is that something we could look at for the shade? Because people have been requesting that.
I know that, I can only speak to that real quick because I know you're on your time, but I did just share that information with our acting city manager based on what I saw on project 11561.
So if we could take a look at that, that might save us some money. Does the city council get a total for the beach sales every week?
I was just gonna answer all of your, I have your
Okay.
questions written down, I'll answer them.
Well, I don't want to run out of time.
This way you don't run out of time.
So let me just finish. Does the city council get a total for the beach sales every week? Because after the budget hearings in May, I think it is now more important that the residents and council members know to the penny how much the city is making each weekend. And then when the beach opens, how much we would get in a weekly report. Thank you.
Okay, so I think that Councilwoman Moore just mentioned the bump out issue. I also know, in just speaking with some of the folks from the CSEA, it does create an issue with some of the equipment going underneath it. You have to make sure that we can still properly clean between the dune and the boardwalk. But I certainly think it's something that should be looked into. With regard to the resolution, I know I haven't had any discussions with anybody that occurred on Friday, and it's now Tuesday, so I don't attend preparing for this council meeting. And the beach pass summary, we don't get anything official, but I'm certainly not opposed to it. I don't know if it gets tallied at the end of every single weekend.
It does. It gets tallied. I had it open this week's agenda, but the council, I'm not sure if that's ever been distributed to the council before, if they ever requested it, but they certainly know, as I received it from each one.
Okay, so then I don't just pass it around.
Sure.
I mean, based on just historical experience, we've never received that information, so I think we can all agree that this would be important for us. And in terms of I wouldn't call it the Benjo Mandel resolution. I think that's a little unfair to assume that there were only 2 people that would support it. But in terms of the resolution, I think we can all say, it's fair to say that we haven't had a meeting or there hasn't been any discussion.
Mr. Verona.
Eddie Verna. Before I start, I first want to thank the COA for, several meetings ago, I requested that every time Mr. McTiernan goes through the cards, that they record him just so it's on the public record and everyone can see it. And they did that, so I thank them for that transparency and showing what's going on, not just up here on the dais, but around the meeting, which is equally as important. And I also thank Councilwoman Moore, who asked Mr. McTiernan finally to not rearrange the cards and not to touch them, because if you get here first, regardless of whether you put down a topic or not, I think you should be able to speak first. And if you make an extra effort to get here early so you can get home, then I think that should be respected, and city workers and officials should not be trying to alter that or change that. And my first question relates to the current fund balance, which is like our reserves. I've asked repeatedly what our current fund balance is. I asked that in January, I asked in February, I asked it in March, and this was the time of where you were supposed to ask your questions and then get back from it, get those answers back. I never did. I originally foiled for it, and despite our city has wonderful accounting software, that we were able to, you're just able to type in a button and say, what's our current fund balance? Then, but my FOIA request was denied because they don't have those records. So again, I asked, what do you know what the current fund balance is? And if you do not, could you provide an estimate? And if you do not have an estimate, could you provide the 6-month mark or the 9-month mark to make sure that there are no surprises, to make sure that we are on track? Are we using $1 million of our fund balance? Like, what is our true financial state? What is our true financial numbers? So I'm just continuing asking for answers on that. Furthermore, the city council's lack of action on the budget last Friday, I think, is irresponsible. And the council voted down the budget, which caused it to automatically go into effect. The council also voted down amendments that would reduce the tax levy. And I think the failure to reduce borrowing, the deficit, and taxes was just wrong. With $2 million worth of borrowing, with over $600,000 deficit, and a 7.9% tax increase, a lot of work needed to be done on that budget, and no work was done. No changes were made. And that was caused by the council's lack of meeting and the council's lack of will to act. And whether it's because it's election year or whatever the cause may be, financial action was needed. The state has warned us. Residents have gone up here and spoke about it. I have warned the city. But then it's all fallen on deaf ears. And we chose deliberately not to act, which was wrong. And this council let an unsustainable and irresponsible budget go into effect. And I think that the council should adopt the Bendo-Moore Mandel, whatever resolution
Mr. Ferrari, your time is up.
that would allow
Your time
this
is up.
budget, this charter.
Let me finish my sentence. We're gonna let you an answer to your question with regards to the fund balance. Please don't scream out. We can let you your answer to the question if you have the information now. If you don't, then what if we see if we can send it to him tomorrow? Okay?
Thank you for my.
Please go ahead.
Good evening, Martha Goodman, Long Beach. 3 minutes isn't really enough for me to talk about this multifaceted problem that I want to make you aware of, but I'm going to give it a shot. It has to do with the hotel valet parking. It's common knowledge and certainly all over social media that regardless of the variances granted to the hotel and the conditions thereof, they, to the best of my knowledge, have not secured less you off-street parking, and so on and so forth. So what happens is West Broadway and the surrounding blocks the cars are being valeted into the public streets, which we know is illegal, and yet nothing happens. There's no enforcement of that law, which is bad enough in itself, but I have to tell you, one of the most egregious, obnoxious things is that the hotel, the valet service, has a sign, and it talks about the rates for parking. Restaurant and lounge, $10. Geez, I didn't bring my glasses up there. Day parking, $20. Overnight parking, $30. But here's the killer. Here's where we're being stolen from, because beach parking, $40. This is outrageous. They're stealing from the residents and the city. Who gave them permission to park cars for beach parking? I really want this looked into. I want it stopped. They can alter the sign. I brought a copy of the sign for all of you because I have to show off my color system. I want it stopped. Unless you're going to move to resident parking, and it won't affect me because I'm out of Long Beach. It's just a matter of a few weeks. But they're stealing money from the city. I'm sure that can't be legal, Ms. Dragonstein, can it?
I think it's certainly an important issue that we all look into. I don't see the police commissioner here. I think
Yes, I was disappointed that I didn't see him
But
either.
I think that, I think we all saw the post. I received a number of messages about it. I think it's definitely a priority for us to look into before next weekend, to the extent that we are, what enforcement can and is appropriate. And I think that I agree with you that it's important and alarming. I don't think there's anyone on the council that would disagree with that. So it's certainly something that has to be.
Okay, so I know, just give me one more minute. When I discussed this with Commissioner Tagny a long while ago about the valet parking, it wasn't about the $40 beach parking. He said.
Wait, Ms. Your time's up.
I know, but you were speaking on my time.
Actually, I started speaking after your time was up. But
Okay.
I'm going to.
You know what, I'm just gonna finish up very quickly.
Okay, but Ms. Blanchett, you're next.
police commissioner said to me, I'm gonna make you so happy, I'm going to extend the parking wall to create extra spots. Don't you know, they started Monday morning, they're almost done. And so now we've added another 10 to 12 spots that the valet service can collect $40 a car for.
Like I said, this is an issue that is alarming to all of us, and I believe that we said that we're gonna look into it this week.
Well, you'll all be getting a follow-up letter, and I hope to hear from you.
Hopefully before the weekend, we're able to address this issue.
Can we just speak to this issue?
I mean, this issue is brought to my attention. My understanding is this was taken, or this sign was posted over Memorial Day weekend.
Yes.
It was, I quoted that.
And it was this past weekend as well.
Was that right?
Yeah, I took that on Saturday.
Okay. Well, as of last week, it was my intention to set the meeting with the property manager. I am aware that the issue is going on, and I do intend to speak to the property manager very shortly, due to everything that went on.
No,
Last week, the 2 meetings.
Listen, understood.
Yeah,
But
but,
what do you mean the property manager, the hotel manager?
correct.
Okay, but remember, it's really the valet service that's the problem, okay?
Right, well, obviously, that's a subcontractor of some sort, so that's why I don't feel right with the property manager, so as well, that's my goal.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Ms. Blanchett?
Allison Blanchett. Also creates a really dangerous situation over there with Valley Partners. I saw it as well, I was gonna speak about that, but Mona pretty much said everything I wanted to say. If I had a driver's license, I would probably be out there selling free parking spaces to people for $40. It kind of, I mean, in a sick way, it's kind of a smart way to make money. Maybe the city should consider having a parking lot that you could be charging people, day trippers money, you know, $40, $50 a pop at the beach, and there you go. But anyways, I just wanted to make a mention that now that the beach entrances, everybody's got to go over to get onto the beach rather than under the boardwalk. It's creating, and it's only going to get a little worse, a bit of tension as every person who is going onto the beach has to cross through the shared use pathway, AKA the bike lane. So I saw that there are some signs, some of those bike lane signs up there. They're not really enough. We need a little bit more. This has been talked about by several residents, previous summers. I've cut my arm on those signs. Other people have knocked them over, sometimes accidentally, other times just because it's apparently fun to throw them off the boardwalk. But if we could do something with signage, particularly at the, those pinch points where people are walking over, because obviously we don't want people getting hurt, but we want it to be comfortable for visitors and residents to have a pleasant experience getting onto the beach and also taking advantage of our gorgeous shared use pathway. So if you guys could maybe make a point to get to the boardwalk over the weekend or a really busy time and just stop and observe. Just take time, maybe at National, maybe time over by Bravish's place, especially because there's a lot of things there, and then over by Student's place. Those are really a lot of just a pinch point. So if you could just pause and see how people are moving. I found that chalking down bike lanes on the boardwalk can actually help for the pedestrians to move them. And that's all.
Frank Murray?
Excuse me?
Michael Laurie, Long Beach. David, if you don't mind. Thank you. Before I start, I just want to thank Commissioner Miranda and the DPW. They did a great job, what the subcontractors did on the 700 block of West Walnut. Good evening, Council. To follow up on City Council Member Mendo's request of April 2018 and last week's request, May 31st, 2019, by City Council Member Scott Mandel, We call it what people refer to as a Bendo-Mandel conversation to amend the charter. I present to you tonight, to the City Council, a draft resolution to change the city charter as it pertains to the proposed city manager's budget. The draft resolution states that if the City Council votes down the proposed city manager's budget, the default budget percentage increase will be the tax cap for that particular year. For those residents who didn't understand and will disagree with that process, the recent budget of 2019-2020 budget included a 7.9% tax increase. To stay under the tax cap, the increase would have been less than 3.5% instead of 7.9%. Attached is a draft resolution to change the city charter regarding adoption of the budget. The highlighted areas show the budget as submitted by the city manager shall be considered to have been adopted on the above-mentioned last day of May. Recommended. The proposed city manager's budget will be adjusted to reflect the amount to be under the tax cap for that budget year and shall be considered to have been adopted on the above-mentioned last day of May. Now, in your package sheets you see, I included below is just for council members in case they want to research the tax cap legislation and know if you want to view it further. But basically it says that school districts and local governments generally cannot increase by more than 2% or the rate of inflation, whichever is lower. However, there are exclusions which allow for employer contributions to local government and school districts to the New York State and local employees retirement system, as well as the New York State and local police retirement system. So I would ask you tonight, I'll just wrap it up, that it has to be a motion tonight, two people, to put it forth on the next council agenda, and that council agenda, I believe, is a notice of public hearing, and then we can have a discussion about that sometime in July. If I'm incorrect, council, just please correct me. Thank you.
So I think that, I'll speak for myself, I think that a concern that I have with such a resolution, while I think there does need to be some research into the actual impact, is that if, for example, this budget that was just dealt with on Friday had been just a 3% tax increase, we would have had to lay off large numbers of employees, which is why I think a number of us had some trouble coming up with certain amendments, because I don't believe that it's appropriate to lay off your neighbors. For me, I think that to the extent that you believe that that's an appropriate thing to do, a 3% tax increase with the rising cost, my understanding, with the rising cost of health insurance and other costs that the city has, was insufficient in order to carry all of the staff that we have. Not just the exempt staff, all of the staff would have required significant layoffs in order to stay below the tax cap. That's just my position on it, so no, I don't believe that that's necessarily the appropriate procedure to get something on, and I certainly would not support it.
Sorry,
That's all right.
my concerns are a little bit more technical. I think that, and by the way, I think it's a very thoughtful and well-intentioned proposal. But the devil would be in the details, because the way you have it structured is right now is that if you want to reduce and you propose levy that's set forth in the city manager's proposed budget, but when you do that, assuming that the city manager's budget as it did this year exceeds the tax cap, you also have to reduce the expenses, right? Because you have to require the tax balanced budget. So if you're reducing your amount of revenue, you have to figure out a way, you have to address this in the statute also, you have to figure out a way to reduce expenses. You do that on a per rate basis based on the amount of the levy that you're decreasing, and you just decrease expenses proportionally. I'm just saying that's part of this that we never have to be flushed out as well.
Well, I appreciate that, and the research, I wanted to kickstart this on the field, so I thought I'd give a little half of it for you, because I know Councilman Mandel asked legal to look into it, so I figured if it hasn't been done, at least I'll start it. Just to follow up on Vice President Diamond's statement is, I know.
Mr. Mandela had asked us to hire outside counsel in order to do that. So he didn't ask for legal to do it. He asked for a resolution to hire outside counsel to see the things that should be dealt with.
My personal opinion is, I don't think outside counsel is needed, but if you want to.
That wasn't my proposal, that was Councilman Mandel's proposal.
But just to follow up is, I agree with your premise that yes, you don't want to lay off people, but you have to backtrack and see, well, how many people you hired in the past year that were discretionary.
No, if you, exactly what that Hopkins city manager said, if you lower the levy, you have to automatically lower the expenses in the budget.
Right.
And you were saying that it automatically goes into effect. So starting the beginning of the next fiscal year, what services are you now providing? That wasn't something that I was willing to do. Maybe you would be, maybe some other members of the council are, but I know that was what was struggled with when we discussed dealing with the budget.
Okay, now, to just answer that, and I know my time is up. You said working with the budget. If you didn't have conversations at budget meetings, how would you know what to do?
That was a characterization that was made by the
Okay.
folks here. There were plenty of discussions that were held. We didn't necessarily all meet at the same time, but people communicate with each other. There were certain meetings where some members were there, some were not. We have very different schedules, different approaches to dealing with the budget. So that wasn't a characterization that I had, but I would say your time is up, so I'm going to call Ms. Hession to speak
Well,
next.
I just wanted to see if any other council members had a comment on my,
They'll comment.
Yeah,
Your
just
time is up. Ms. Hession, you're next.
the issue with that particular item in the charter is it makes it easy to avoid making difficult decisions that need to be made in the running of this city. So rest assured, I'm not letting this go. I think this is important. This needs to be fixed. Hopefully, two other council members will agree with me. If not, then that's how democracy works. But I am going to try to fix this.
Good evening, I'm in Hession, Long Beach. The first thing I want to mention is moving all the concerts to Riverside Boulevard. You probably already know that some people are very upset about it. Most people walk to the concerts, and if they can't walk to them, then they have a parking problem in Riverside, as well as the people who just opened up kiosks on the boardwalk are not going to be making their money. Also, the people who live near Riverside are going to have a concert almost every night, which is disruptive to sleep. So I hope that you will reconsider. I understand there was a reason for doing this. I hope that will be fixed before the end of the year, and we can go back to having concerts on multiple beaches. The other things I'll just mention, a group of things that I think are dangerous right now, and some of them are open to lawsuits. The first, Allison covered with the bike lanes. Dangerous, very dangerous. The boardwalk has been very crowded. The benches, not only do they look horrible, it's embarrassing, but some of them have screws sticking out of them and broken big pieces of wood. Some kids could walk on that or sit on that and hurt themselves. Open to lawsuit. The jetties, no matter what time of day I go down to the beach or boardwalk, there are people on the jetties, and I don't see anybody giving them that $500 fine, but it counts dozens of people every day. A dog was shot by BBs and killed recently, yesterday, I think. And I guess we'd like to hear that the police are actively trying to find who did that, because somebody who would shoot a dog, God knows what else they would do, that is a hazard. And finally, the MTA posted some publicity for Long Beach recently. I don't know if we wrote it or not, but they said, you know, if you buy the pass on the railroad to get into the beach, it's a short walk to our restaurants, and no shoes are required in our restaurants.
I don't think that's true. I don't think the restaurant owners would agree to that. And again, we're open to lawsuits. So it's a whole list of things. Thank you.
The only issue I can address immediately, I think that the issue with the dog, there was a press release that went out that the, remember that. I think that they're coordinating with the district attorney. I think that's what it said. Does anyone have it? We received an email this afternoon from the police department, but they were looking into it. I don't recall the specifics, and I looked at it when I was.
Yeah, I just
Yeah,
don't think
they
they
are
are
looking
looking into
into
it
it,
because
and I know that we received something from.
if it was an accident by some kid playing with a BB gun, that's one thing. If it was purposeful, that is something that really.
I have faith that our police department will figure out exactly what happened.
Okay, thank you.
Just a quick question regarding the jetties. I mean, we've all seen it, we know it happens. Are the specials still on duty after 6 p.m. or do they go up with the lifeguards?
The specials are on duty after 6.
Okay,
In terms of the precise staffing, I have to ask the police commissioner.
okay. Is it possible you can ask them, you know, pay special attention to that issue?
Yeah, I could look into that, absolutely. To me, it's worth it.
Yeah, I mean, that and parking, obviously, so I do believe they can be tickets. And we know that's another issue.
Right, it seems well worth the time and expense.
Mr. Lester?
We're Lester Long Beach. Ms. Stanley, I've been involved in public service and going to meetings for 25 years now. What I saw tonight, the way you treated Mr. Verona and cut him off in the middle of a sentence, you didn't even have the courtesy to allow him to finish the sentence, was the height of rudeness, and I think you owe him an apology. I was shocked that was taken. Okay. First thing, I know I've been bringing it up for 6 months now, the defibrillator in the pool. This morning at 6 a.m., there were 18 people there, a lot of them senior citizens. We still don't have a defibrillator. I know we have a lot of excuses. I know we have a lot of plans. I know we're talking about it. There is still no defibrillator. And let me tell you something. Heart attack plus excuse does not equal defibrillator. Okay? It's no problem. Nobody else seems to have these kind of problems, and no other municipality getting a defibrillator where it's required. I don't understand why this place does. Allison spoke about the boardwalk this weekend. It was a disaster. People were all over the bike lanes. There were no signs out this weekend. I don't know what's going to happen when we get sued, as we will when somebody's hit with a bike. There's not enough signage. There's nothing, you know, we've been talking about getting it marked for years. Nothing happens. Okay? You talked about the jetties, or Ms. Hession talked about the jetties. I understand you don't want people in the jetties. Yet, your literature that's out now has Mr. Aramo sitting, guess where? On the jetty. I mean, really, what a message. Now, last week, I asked about the fact that Long Beach suddenly had $150 million added to their assessed value. Well, not assessed, the total value, because, as I understand, 2 beaches were added. I still don't understand that. And why would 2 beaches be added and not other beaches be added? And why would, I mean, all of a sudden, Long Beach is worth $150 million more for property that nobody else can use. Now, I know it's exempt, and, you know, it's put on the exempt rolls, but Long Beach went from a, what was it, 5.9 billion to 6.5 billion in the value. I just don't get it. I just don't get how things are done here. But I don't want to get you up there. Thank you.
Can anyone speak to the safety with respect to the disability? Do
I
you have any updates?
I've already addressed that issue. I've signed a purchase order with respect to parts that are being used for purposes that, as I mentioned previously, the pool area is a destination.
And perhaps we can just ask
Do we have any idea when
assessor,
those parts are coming in?
Timeframe?
why don't we just ask the assessor to respond to regarding the assessment issue? I don't know it.
Sure.
Mr. Dean? I'm sorry, John, did you want to?
One question. Why can't we put the yield pedestrians and do not block intersections on West Park from New York to Nevada on the streets that don't have stop signs? Is there a problem with putting a sign up? You can't put a half a dozen signs up? Yet, I walk down my block, Ocean View, which has 2 stop signs, and it has a new sign up there. Yield to pedestrians and crosswalk. But guess what? There's no crosswalk signs on the street. But there's a new sign there. You told me that you can't put a crosswalk indications on West Park because there's no traffic control. Well, on New York Avenue in West Penn, there's north, south, and east, west crosswalk indications, no traffic control. You tell me you can't mix stop signs and streetlights, yet all you have to do is go down Beach Street, and you got stop signs, and then traffic lights, and then traffic lights, stop signs. There's an inconsistency with your excuses on why you can't put these signs up. And the traffic is only getting worse. Today, I was walked here, I couldn't cross because the cars were going zigzag all over the place. Finally, a red light at New York Avenue stopped, I thought it was gonna get across, but no, car came right up from eastbound, blocked it. There's a car trying to make a left onto Arizona, he couldn't make a left because he couldn't get out. Anybody who wanted to get out couldn't get out, nobody wanted to get left could get in. Why? Because nobody is obeying the standard traffic laws of don't block the intersection and yield with pedestrians. I don't get it. I don't know. What does it take to put a couple signs up?
I know you brought this issue to the attention of Commissioner Hagan and the police department, and they've spoken with this issue on a number of occasions at council meetings and in other venues as well. All I can tell you is that it's an issue that I have discussed with the police department myself. I just.
Why can't the signs be put up? You just repaved Arizona Avenue with this vendor that was done because of National Grid, did some work on the block. They put the little, traffic bumps. Guess what's being put up on the other side of the street where the traffic bumps are? Signs. There's a brand new sign at the end of my block. There's a brand new sign on the end of West Park, right in New York Avenue. Stop at Red Deer. That wasn't there 6 months ago. You got plenty of money. You must have plenty of money. You got a 7.9 increase, right? You got plenty of workforce. Didn't lay anybody off.
Mr. Buckler?
Out of curiosity. So, as a West End resident also, I've been stuck on Park Avenue not being able to take a left because people are blocking, or as they say in New York City, blocking the box. Is that under our jurisdiction to put up a, do not block intersection?
Well, I had just asked the acting city manager to touch base this week with the commissioner again to take a look at the corner and see what, if anything, if it's an enforcement issue, if it's a signage issue. I know that we looked at it when it was first brought to our attention and he believed it was not appropriate for that type of sign, but I'm not a traffic expert, so I think that we just have to kind of circle back and make our concerns. I think, yeah, we're waiting for the traffic study, is my understanding.
Right, so that's
Waiting for the
regarding
traffic study.
lights or stop signs, as far as don't block the intersection.
The way the traffic study, what the issue is, and I stood on that corner with him, it's very, very dangerous, very difficult for pedestrians to actually cross, because they're coming from 4 different ways, and it's just really, it's a danger, someone's going to get hurt. So the issue is, how can we expedite to make sure that there can be some signage, but also the signage has to be placed in a strategic manner.
I agree.
And I think that's what the issue is.
I agree. So why don't we, I think
Right, but I think that it was my understanding that the traffic study was to look at the entire safety of the corner, not simply traffic lights or stop signs, but the actual corner, and to the extent that there needs to even be a traffic pattern modification. I think that was why
We own the city.
we're trying to answer your question, so.
Just from a liability standpoint, you never get out ahead of your expert, right? Because what happens if one of those signs actually causes an accident? It's very, very important to wait for the expert report before you go ahead and make a change in like a scattershot fashion. That can result in exposure in itself, so that's why we're waiting for the report.
Mr. Gessler.
Hi, good evening, Jay Gus, Long Beach. On the off chance that you see fit to answer my questions, please hold that answer until the end. Do not interrupt me. Just like to comment on a couple of the previous speakers talking about various neglected situations here and citywide. I'm hoping that the elevator that has been broken for over a month now will be fixed. So when our $1.5 million OEM opens, that we'll have 2 elevators to provide access to it. Also, in response to Ms. Diamond's comment, in response to Mr. Delori's comment about her desire to avoid the layoff of a large number of employees, there is an alternative. And that alternative is the elimination of wasteful patronage jobs. You have my name and phone number on the slip I filled out with the welfare. If you want to contact me, I'll be happy to offer you some suggestions. Moving on. I understand it's been budget season, I understand the day's been busy, but we're still waiting for answers to questions asked at several previous good and welfares. And it's, feel free to ignore me and disregard my questions, but you're being watched by an audience of thousands on the COA feed. I don't know if anybody watches yours. So really, out of respect for those people, I think the city owes the public the answers to the legitimate questions answered. Also, we're still waiting on a copy, not me, but several other people have duly requested Mr. Agastisi's employment agreement, dare I say, the legal employment agreement, and it is yet to be provided. And I'd like to know why not. I've asked this question 3 or 4 times previously at Good Welfare, and I'm still awaiting an explanation for why that agreement is not being provided. Lastly, it's a matter of public record that Nassau County DA Madeline Sings has opened an investigation into the so-called payout scandal in connection with certain payments made by the city to employees that were expected to separate from service and to others that did not. As we all know, the accuracy of some of the numbers that were paid out has been called into question. I have learned that DA Singh has been conducting interviews with city employees and ex-city employees, such as Jack Schmidt, as part of that investigation. And I'd like to know whether or not these employees or ex-employees have been provided representation either by the city itself or at city expense. As the city hired outside counsel, is it common for the city to pay the costs for lawyers for employees that may be the target of criminal charges resulting from the theft of city funds?
I think that's it, that's the last answer. Have a good night, everybody get home safely.
Do we have an answer?